Hi, Keith Barrett, founder and president of Vesta Settlements. Today we're going to be talking about the home inspection contingency addendum. So as of January 1st of 2014, we have a new home inspection contingency addendum. So it is currently in effect and you should be using it. And we want to do just a brief overview of that new form so that you're comfortable with it. The new addendum breaks down the home inspection into three parts. The first part is called the inspection period. That is followed by a negotiation period, and then a purchaser's election. And we'd like to go over each one of those with you today. We'll first start with the inspection period. This looks a lot like what we were used to. It looks and feels the same way, it works the same way. The parties to the contract will create a home inspection contingency for a certain number of days, within which time the purchaser will do a home inspection and provide an entire copy of the home inspection report and a written addendum with a list of deficiencies and proposed remedies to the seller, or an entire copy of the inspection report and notice voiding. There's a couple new language added in that portion. Most notably, there is an automatic extension of the contingency period in the event that the utilities are not in service. The parties will just agree on a certain period of time in that portion, in the inspection period, where the contingency will be extended until the seller delivers notice that the utilities are back in service. So that's a nice little piece that was added. The other language that was added there is language to make it clear that if within the inspection period the purchaser either doesn't do an inspection or doesn't provide an entire copy of the report or an addendum or notice, that the inspection contingency expires and the contract will move forward in full force and effect. Now that's always been the case, but the language is added there to make that clear. Once the purchaser submits the entire home inspection report and an addendum with the deficiencies, that starts and kicks off the next part, which is the negotiation period. The parties will also agree how long that period will be. It will be filled in the contingency addendum. And within that period of time, the purchaser and seller can go back and forth as many times with as many offers, counter offers, rescinding those offers and counter offers. It could go back as many times as the parties agree to reach an agreement. So that was the language that was added there, also to make it clear based off of the old form that the parties were free to do that. There were some questions about that, about whether a party can retract an offer that was previously made, and so we now know that that can be done. So one of two things will occur at that point in time in that negotiation period. Either the parties will sign an addendum where they agree on everything, at which point the contingency will be satisfied, the contract will move forward in full force and effect, or at the end of that negotiation period the parties will not have an agreement, in which case we would move into the third part of the addendum, which is called the purchaser's election. And that basically gives the purchaser the ability to have the final say on what happens with that contract. And it's really an easy choice. The purchaser, if there's no agreement, can either elect to void the contract, or they can elect not to void and the contract will move forward. Now the important piece to understand there is that the purchaser has to take the proactive step in providing notice to void the contract within whatever period they decide for the purchaser's election. If the purchaser does nothing, the contingency will expire and the contract will move forward in full force and effect without any agreement from the seller to fix anything. So that's very, very important. The actual voiding option for the purchaser is a proactive step the purchaser has to take. The reason why this part of the form was added and we put in this purchaser's election was because under the old form and the way the contingency worked, there were ways for a seller to actually void the contract, and we wanted to keep that power in the hands of the purchaser. And so by having the purchaser's election, it is always within the purchaser's power to either void or keep going in the contract, and this way it keeps the contingency for their benefit. If you have any additional questions, you can certainly feel free to reach us either online at vestasettlements.com or give us a call at 703-288-3333. Until next time.